Hello and welcome to Living Scary Podcast.
The podcast where we talk about real to real horror so you can live vicariously through us.
I've got a huge fucking forehead, Logan, and I like to watch and talk about horror movies.
And I'm the big reveal, McCall, and I like to talk about true crime and murder.
Yeah!
Yeah, we did it.
We're back.
We're here.
It's no longer Halloween, and it's sad. It's the
and
dark
it is
times.
really sad. It's the dark. It's so dark.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know about anybody else, but like November, as much as I love November, because birthday, Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff.
I love Thanksgiving.
But like, it's dark. But the second that December, or not even December, the second that Thanksgiving's over and Black Friday happens, Crimbus. And the world is light again. Oh my
Stella.
God. Stella.
Stella. She was so excited for Christmas.
No, she's excited because I could see Charlie in the camera. He was outside the door.
Just lurking.
And he was lurking. He was lurking in the house. There
Hi,
he
Charlie.
is. Oh,
oh my God. But actually, Christmas.
Sorry about my dog.
It's fine. They like it. Everyone loves it. Or it'll get cut. Who knows?
Nope.
But Christmas. So the second November is over. Christmas lights.
Well, no.
So
here's
it's
the
better.
thing. No, here's the thing. I just said all that, and I'm that whore that the second that Halloween's over, November 1st, I'm like, and Christmas. Like
I am not that whore.
I start listening to Christmas music, but not like the really hardcore. It's fucking Christmas. I listen to the instrumentals. I listen to Vince Guaraldi. I listen to the
saxophone
is it Kenny
guy?
G? I was like Kenny G. I listen to Kenny G. I listen to the Nutcracker Suite, both the guitar and the orchestra. So it's like I get into the ones where it's like,
you're a classy Christmas bitch.
At least for November. And then when it hits December, it's like, just drill my pussy with Christmas, please.
It's just sloppy at that point.
Pine tree. I am that, what is it? That like Dutch, like Christmas tree display that just looked like a giant butt plug. And I'm like, shove it up my ass.
Oh my God, it did.
Have you seen that? Have you seen?
Yes.
Was it Dutch or was it Swedish? It was something like that. It was a butt plug. I'm looking at it right now. A butt plug Christmas tree. Okay.
Plug Christmas tree.
Okay, actually, I actually saw like so many. That is the thing this year. I'm not shitting
butt
you.
Plugs or what?
Is all so many at like I was at Target. I was at Home Goods, and all these like they were like the modern like simplified Christmas tree ornaments, you know, and they just looked like butt plugs. Just looked like butt plugs. Straight up.
I'm just gonna, I just want to decorate my tree and just butt plugs and be like, no one will figure it out. That would be an expensive tree.
So it was Paris by, when I first read it, it was back in 2014. It was Paris by an artist by an American, but it was an American artist named Paul McCarthy. And I shit you not, I read it Paul McCartney at the first time. I'm like, why would he do this? But it was Paul McCarthy, and apparently was in Paris. And yeah, it just looks like a giant butt plug. And so many. Like, I was at, like I said, Home Goods, Target, walking around just like, what? And then some of them are ribbed for her pleasure, honey. Like
the tree leaves, the
prickles. Are you? I know it's not. It's November, so it's a little soon to be talking about this. But what kind of Christmas decoration? No, I shouldn't even say that. What kind of decoration? Like holiday decorations, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, even. It's like, are you more of like a modern, like classic, like or like a modern or a classic? Like, so the modern is more of like the simplified, chic kind of look, whereas classic is more of like what you imagine like when you watch Christmas Story, where it's just like there's so many colors and lights and fun stuff. And it's like, I like both of them a little bit, but like, are you one way or the other?
I am both. I am whatever decorations mom doesn't want anymore and has bequeathed to me. So that's where I'm at in my adult life.
Yeah, fair.
I'm not buying Christmas ornaments, but
I have the ghost ship from Grandma Donna and Grandpa Jim. Do you not remember the ghost ship?
If you showed it to me, I would know. But
if I showed it to you, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I whatever mom gives to me, and then mom even said at our last visit, she's like, I'm super excited to buy you guys like Christmas and Halloween and all kinds of decorations for your home. I'm like, I am too, babe.
She got me last Christmas. One of my big Christmas gifts were these cones. These cones of Dunshire.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember. I remember those.
They're little Christmas tree decorations, and they're really cute.
They're really cute.
But like, we transported them back to our place, and I put them by our fireplace, and I was like, these are sharp. They are they are deadly sharp, man. I don't know.
It's about the cones.
It's all about the cones. So we call them the cones of Dunshire. And if we ever have a child running around, they will be impaled. I don't know. They're not safe. They have to be
NSFC, not safe for children.
Not safe. Like, you have to put like a cork on the tip so it doesn't like fucking impale them. I don't know what I'm going to do with these fucking cones. But yeah, so that's the last gift mom got me for Christmas decorations. But
I have quite a menagerie because I do have for Christmas. I'm ready for like so many occasions where it's like there's like they're really like Christmas kind of like tacky crappy crap.
Yeah.
And then I have like some really cute like mom for my Christmas thing last year. She got me like a really cute like wooden snowman, and then a really cute wooden like little gnome like you like.
I do like that.
So wow, enough about Christmas ornaments.
That's okay.
And Christmas decorations.
Yeah, I'm super sorry, everyone.
No, I'm not sorry. It's November. Get into it.
Get into it. Get that instrumental Christmas going.
Yeah. Just the instrumental stuff.
Just like a light, just like, you know, you put your fingers
piano.
like this and then you form the fist, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I made a fisting joke.
That's okay.
That's okay. So what are you talking about today?
I'm talking about something completely not Christmas. I'm talking about the taking of Deborah Logan.
Deborah?
This is one that like has been on my radar for a while that I've heard is actually pretty good. But like I've never like sat down and said, all right, I'm going to watch this now. But like it was Halloween-y time and Charlie and I were kind of looking for something to watch. And I saw that it was there. And I was like, oh, but let's watch this. What did we watch beforehand? Did we watch Hocus Pocus and then watch Taking Deborah Logan?
Very no, I'm different.
Pretty sure we made a mistake and we watched a funny Halloween movie, whether it was Hocus Pocus or something else, and then we watched an actual scary movie.
Oh, you flip-flop that shit.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't care either way, but
Charlie was affected.
I'm not saying whether
I'm not pointing fingers or naming names, but goddamn it, Charlie.
Okay, but at the same time, no, Charlie. Say like later that night, I like was coming out and Charlie was like in the living room, and he was getting up to go to bed, so he had like shut all the lights off, and I like was going to the bathroom, and the hallway leading to our bedroom was totally dark, and I looked out the door and he came out of the darkness and I was like, oh my God. Like I was terrified.
I love that.
It's happened twice. He did it to me after we watched Barbarian, and then it happened again with the taking of Deborah Logan. And I'm like, oh my God.
Emerging from the dark.
Because, well, for someone who loves horror as much as I do, I am an incredibly jumpy person. Like
you really are.
People can get me pretty easy,
and it is so fulfilling.
Oh yes, because it's the same reaction every goddamn time too.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, this girlish, high-pitched scream.
It's great. Never change.
I don't plan on it.
I have become jaded over time. I used to be very affected, and now I watch horror movies all the time, and I'm not scared at all.
I know. I'm so proud.
I'm so cool. I was 100. I watched It Chapter 1. And I was looking behind the shower curtain for Pennywise for like a whole 2 months after watching that movie.
2 months, McCall? That was at least a year.
I wanted to say 2 months. That seems more reasonable.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I was really upset about that. And now I'm just the chillest mofo. But anyway, sorry.
No, I
go
was
back
like,
to your thing.
chillest mofo? I don't know about
I
that
am
one.
everyone
But
describes me as chill and
chill as
calm.
fuck. Chill,
I'm
calm,
a
cool.
type B personality, you know?
Well, this movie was made in 2014. It's rated R. It's a cool hour and a half, so that was nice.
Sweet.
It's a very quick movie. It's directed and written by Adam Robitel. Also, Gavin Heffernan was also one of the writers. Some of our stars. I'm not going to lie to you. I really was kind of looking into these people, and I did not really recognize them from much else.
You know the main lady.
But we got Jill Larson, who shushed you in Shutter Island. We got Anne Ramsey, Michelle Ang, Brett Gentile, Jeremy DeCarlos, Brian Catrona. It just kind of goes on from there. Honestly, there's
It's
nobody.
like a list of names or something.
It's a list of names that I feel terrible because it's like they all do a really good job. Like, this is a really good movie. I was actually surprised that it wasn't more well known. I was gonna say I know, like I was looking at Anne Ramsey and I was like, I feel like I know her, but so she was in Dexter.
Ooh. Who was
For a
she?
couple seasons. She played a recurring character named Ellen Wolf. But it's been a long time since I've seen Dexter, but it's like maybe that's why she kind of like jumps out at me a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm also kind of looking around just to make sure that I'm not like totally talking out my ass. Like, I've never seen this person. Literally, she's the biggest star in the world. Yeah, nothing I've really seen her in other than that. And it's been quite some time since I've watched Dexter. But anyway, it's despite the fact that I don't know many of the cast members, this movie actually, like, they turn it the fuck out. Like, it's really good. They do a great job. Especially, I really do like Jill Larson and Anne Ramsey. They do really work well together.
Which one has the big forehead? Just
Jill
checking.
Larson.
Okay.
Jill Larson has a beautiful picture that I'm looking at right now where she has a very side-swept bang. But in this movie, they said, hey, forehead, it's a 5 head now. We're upgrading.
Get those bangs out of here.
Yeah, we're expanding the real estate here. They did her a little dirty with that. But so basically this movie is a found footage movie. And it's of the found footage movies that I've seen in recent years, it's one of the better ones. But basically the synopsis kind of revolves around a group, Mia, Gavin, and Luis. They are doing a documentary, documenting this woman's life, Deborah Logan, and her. She's currently suffering from Alzheimer's disease.
Mm.
And Sarah
like early onset. How old is she?
It is a little more. She looks to be maybe in her like 60s to 70s, possibly.
Okay.
But then she's got her adult daughter, who. So like they are clearly being paid to be in this they're being paid to be in this documentary. And Sarah, the daughter, is kind of like reminding Deborah, like, hey, we need to like be in this movie because we need the money. Because
Deborah doesn't want to be in it.
And Deborah is kind of reluctant to be in the movie.
But then she'll forget all of it, so, you know.
Yeah. But so through the interviews and stuff, we kind of get a view of their life. We see that Deborah worked, like in the early days, worked as a switchboard operator.
Oh, cool.
For an answering service in this town, and like she basically knew all of what was going on in this town because she was the one making all the calls.
Amazing.
And of course, she I don't want to get too into it because this is actually one where I kind of want you guys to watch it because this movie is much more about experiencing it. So I'm definitely giving a little more of a broad strokes when it comes to this one. Because really it's the acting and the like relationships between the characters that make it compelling. And me just kind of like telling you like, and then this person says this person to this thing. So this person says this thing to this person. It doesn't really hit as much, but I'm going to go through the plot wholesale in this. So if you want to go watch it and then pop back and listen, you can. Otherwise,
here's your chance.
But like there's a lot of paranormal things that seem to be happening. Like she'll like wake up in the middle of the night. She'll appear places around the house. Like they'll like see her go one place and then they'll turn around. She's right behind them. And they're like, yo, this is not just normal Alzheimer's. And they're like, no,
this is advanced. So
but
they're doing this documentary just to document
I feel like if I remember correctly,
Alzheimer's,
it's for Shul. It's for a Shul thing. I feel like if I remember correctly.
And it's for school and they can give her money for it?
Which is what makes me think it might not be. But I can't remember because it could be like a graduate program.
Oh yeah, they could be like doing a grant or
yeah, they could be doing something like that. Like I can't remember exactly what kind of the situation is there.
But is it more like I'm studying the effects of it, or I'm showing you like
it's more like we're showing
experience?
You the effect of it.
Okay.
Like we're showing what happens in the life of somebody who has Alzheimer's. But they do eventually kind of record some odd things. One of them being that at the switchboard, they do kind of record her kind of at this switchboard, like in like a night terror kind of situation. And she's speaking in French.
Ooh.
And she's talking about sacrifices and snakes in French. And they also notice that one of the lines, line 337, is continually ringing. And apparently that line, when they looked into it, belonged to a local physician named Henri Desjardins, who disappeared after there was a period where he, the classic, a series of cannibalistic ritualized murders of 4 young girls. You know how it is.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, Henri, what are you doing?
Yeah. And basically it like Deborah starts to get like really, really bad and eventually is hospitalized. And then finally, someone in a horror movie does the smartest thing I've ever seen a person do in a horror movie. Gavin, one of the people who came into it, decides to say, I'm done, and fucking leaves. And he quits the film and he leaves. And then he lives.
And so I got my stuff. And I
left.
Oh,
I was
Gavin.
That is the smartest thing I have ever seen a person do.
Applause,
in a
Gavin.
horror movie.
Just wow. Look at you go.
Well, basically, it kind of like things come to fruition, and basically it turns out that Desjardins was trying to recreate an ancient Monachan ritual that would make him immortal. Yeah, Henri Desjardins. Yes. It would make him immortal, but it required the deaths of 5 girls that recently had their first period. Because there's always a thing about girls with their periods. Like
they love that shit.
Like, whether it's they're virgins or they haven't had their first period, or now in this when they have had their first. It's like it's always why.
There's a lot of things with like hauntings specifically and possession cases where the family. Oh shit! Oh man! Oh, what did I just do?
You dropped everything. Oh god, you dropped everything.
I don't know what I fucking did.
Oh Jesus Christ! You ruined Brendan's gaming setup.
I'm gonna pause it really quick. But yeah, so there's a lot of times if a family starts getting haunted or whatever, they move into a new house, they start noticing the haunting things whenever the girl is in that period of getting her period. What like that. Becoming a woman apparently attracts ghosts. Like bears can smell it, ghosts can smell it. I don't fucking know.
I was like, ghosts are like sharks. Apparently, you heard it here first. They smell blood.
They smell specifically period blood, and they're like, "Time to start." I don't know.
Time to start. Let's really knock this shit into 3rd gear.
This 12-year-old's life's gonna get ruined.
Yep. So eventually, it comes into question whether or not Deborah, because by this point, the remaining video students are like, nah, we're fully into this. This isn't about Alzheimer's anymore. This is about ghosts and possession and craziness.
Gavin still made the wrong decision, apparently.
Gavin made the right decision. But, so we find out that Deborah's daughter, Sarah, her adult daughter, a couple things. Sarah has a lover by the name of Tanya Bloodsworth. She's like, well, that's the actress's name. Sorry, the character's name is Linda Tweed, but she's like one of the sheriffs in the town.
Sick.
And they're like, if I remember correctly, they are like in a thing, and but also Sarah was going to be that. She was going to be the next sacrifice.
Oh, shit.
Due to their friendly neighborhood neighbor, Harris. I'm not going to try the last name. Harris. He was Deborah's good friend for several years. And he basically told her that, like, yeah, they knew Desjardins was going to try to sacrificing these kids. And then they found out, I think, if I remember correctly, through the switchboards, like they found out that Desjardins was going to sacrifice Sarah. And so Deborah said, oops, no. And they killed Henri.
Oh, they Freddy Krueger'd him?
Yep, they killed him and buried him in the yard.
Whoa. Why didn't they just call the fucking police?
Yep. Now, of course, they find this out from Harris as he's like dying, or if I remember correctly. Because so back in the hospital, like, Deborah is going crazy and she's starting to get bad. And like, she's kind of like searching for this person. She's looking at this girl, a young cancer patient named Kara. And at one point, like, Harris comes in and like what remains of Deborah is like in the body and is like, I want you to kill me. And so Harris tries to like kill her, but like, because she wants him to. And the entity that's within her like affects him, like hurts him and stops him. Then he is able to communicate to the group the wicked truth that he and Deborah killed Henri. But they try to find, based on this like Moroccan ritual, or Monacan rather ritual, they try to light the remains of Henri on fire as a way to kind of purify it and remove his presence from Deborah's body. They are unsuccessful though. And this is where things kind of start to get fucked. They go to this place, because eventually Deborah actually succeeds in kidnapping Kara, the 10-year-old.
So Deborah, aka Henri, is trying to kidnap this
and trying
girl.
to complete the ritual.
Got it.
So then Henri, aka Deborah, takes them to this location where he had killed the other girls. Unfortunately, Sheriff Linda Tweed, aka Sarah's lover, decides to tag along and gets herself killed.
No.
Sarah and Mia, so Sarah, the adult daughter, and Mia, one of like the lead, like the person who's doing like the interviews for the
got it
thing. And then I think Luis is the one holding the camera. They find Deborah. There is kind of like the iconic scene from this movie of Deborah kind of unhinging her jaw and like swallowing Kara's head like a snake. But in that moment, they do manage to burn Henri's corpse. And then it kind of cuts to like, it's a very dramatic moment. And then it cuts to news footage where they're like, yeah, we caught Deborah, but she's proven to be way too whack for us to be able to
she is straight
prosecute
whack.
her. Yeah, they were like, we cannot prosecute her. Like, she's unfit to stand trial. And suddenly Kara has overcome her cancer.
Yay!
Is now celebrating her 10th birthday.
Woo!
And as the reporter is wrapping up the story, Kara turns to the camera and gives a very sinister smile.
Oh no! Never mind.
Very much hinting that that Henri's ritual was completed
because he killed the sheriff.
Well, the sheriff definitely has had her period because the sheriff is an adult
woman.
But
what if she's like really like too skinny or something?
But like, basically, I don't know exactly the specifics of it, but it definitely is hinted that the ritual was somehow completed and he's now in control of her body. And so it's like girl. Maybe like that was the immortality was like, instead of like you just have your body forever, you continually can live through other people's bodies. Yeah.
Okay. I guess
that's the end of Deborah Logan. It's a very quick movie. I know that one was very quick. It's literally only an hour and a half.
I liked that. I think that's a cool idea.
It is.
Is it my turn?
It's already your turn, yes.
It's already my turn. Well,
it's already
guess
your turn.
what?
I still have about half a drink left, so
Me too.
I am sitting here and ready for you to talk.
Damn. All right, well, get ready for this story, which I assume you already have heard of, but we'll see, because sometimes you surprise me.
We'll see. Some like surprise you whether I know something or surprise you that I don't know something.
Both. Sometimes
Yes.
I'll like say something and you're like, oh yeah, I know that. And I was like, oh, ah. And sometimes I'm like, guess what about this? And you're like, I've never heard of that. I don't know who you're, what? John Bonet who? Just kidding, you knew John Bonet.
Of course I know John Bonet Ramsey. Joni Bennett Ramey.
This is the abduction of Elizabeth Smart.
Yep.
You got it. Okay.
Yep, I know that one.
So, how much do you know?
I know that name.
Thank you. The end. All right. I think everybody knows her name. This was a really big case, especially when we all collectively, since we're all in the same age group, were pretty young. This happened.
Yeah, I feel like this was definitely. Wait, when did this happen?
No, I want to get your gauge of when it happened.
I feel like this is when like mom and dad really started having like the stranger danger talks with us.
Please don't talk to strangers. Please don't look at other people.
Because it was very much like, and in the most loving way possible. It was not like trying to be threatening, but it was very much in the most loving way possible. Do not talk to strangers. Do not follow a stranger. Because if they do, they will take you away and you will never see me again. And I was like, oh! Like, I was like...
It was the coach in Mean Girls who was like, if you have sex, you will get pregnant and die.
It was very that. It was very that.
As a kid, I was like, I guess at some point I will be kidnapped, so I better just...
bit where it's like, when, not if, when.
But when. I mean, yeah, this terrified a generation of children and parents because it's kind of the exact nightmare that you have when you think of a kidnapping. So I got my information from, I actually was a little confused on the source. So it's it's like a documentary that I found on YouTube that is actually like Elizabeth Smart is talking. So it's like directly from her and her family and their perspectives and everything. It was really great. The title came up Autobiography, Elizabeth Smart, but the actual channel was called Biography. So I'm assuming that the channel
two very different things
is Biography, but since she was telling it, they like named it special because it was an autobiography.
The autobiographical biography.
I saw the title and I was like, oh no, what am I going to call it? But
I always think it's funny, like, because like in a very similar vein, like our parents used to like they would be like, why don't you go out and like explore and like do, I'm like, because we all like whether it's our parents or the other kids' parents or whatever, a parent needs to know where we're at any
where
given
you're
point.
Going,
and
who
it's
you're
like,
going to be around. How long are you going to be gone?
When are you better be back by this time. Whereas like mom and dad, their generation, they'd leave in the morning and they'd be lucky to come back and they'd be doing horrid things. They'd be looking at like buildings that were falling apart. They would be like down in a rock quarry throwing rocks at each other.
Rocks, you know.
Like diving into like putrid water that probably has decomposing corpses in it. Like, and meanwhile, we're like, yeah, we're going to go outside to the front yard, not leave the front yard because we're terrified to leave the front yard because of Elizabeth Smart.
We're going to set up a folding table in the garage and we're going to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little bit. So that's our outside time.
Yes, we are. We're going to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And be terrible at it, honey, darling. And yes. I still have all of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. And I recently bought a bunch of Pokemon cards for an embarrassing amount of money. So don't ask.
Don't even think about it. So yeah, this one is pretty scary. And she wasn't even outside for this part. So she was kidnapped from inside. I got more information from a Crime Junkie episode on it and obviously Wikipedia. Let's be real.
Have you ever seen the Vine of like the one girl who did like a lot of Vines as like someone who like worked in like service industry, specifically like at a restaurant? Like one of her things was she was like being as the customer and be like, can you tell me what the weather is outside, or like the sitting is outside? And like as the waitress being like, you came in from the outside.
From the outside. How did you think it was? So, Elizabeth Smart lives with her lived. I don't know if she still is there or whatever, but she lived in Salt Lake City, Utah with her family. In 2002, her...
Yep. That matches up with my timeline.
Right around that time.
I would say I'd be about like 10 or 11, and you'd probably be like 8 or 9.
The perfect kidnapping age?
Yeah. The prime kidnapping age for it. But then I was so big. That's like, if a kidnapper tried to pick me up.
Gene, go take his order. I don't want to get molested. You won't molest you. You're heavy. I think kids can get molested.
That was one of those jokes from like the early seasons.
That was the first episode where I was like, damn.
Charlie and I went and we've been kind of rewatching the old seasons. There's a couple of jokes that they do in the first season, and I'm like, whoa.
Okay. That's a spicy one.
Yeah, I'm glad that they kind of calmed down with that one. Well, because they did the thing that every show does, where they take like a first season or two to kind of figure out what they're trying to do.
Who are you? You know, how edgy are we going to be here?
They dialed it back a bit.
So, her grandfather died, and the family's pretty frazzled. They're kind of dealing with the funeral and everything. And Elizabeth is actually a really smart kid. She does a lot of like really cool extracurricular stuff.
Elizabeth Smart is smart.
Oh, boo. But yeah, she's your quintessential 14-year-old, like just a good kid. I think her family is Mormon. I'm like pretty
Salt Lake
sure.
City. We have family in Utah. It's a pretty safe bet.
I know that they're very religious. I never saw specifically what religion, but like in one of the documentaries, there was a shot of them walking in front of a Church of Latter-day Saints. So I was like, I think that's close enough.
That, and then coupled with the fact that they're in Salt Lake City, Utah.
So,
do you remember when Mr. Did he ever do this for you? Like, he would be like we did one thing where he'd be like, oh yeah, he'd just be talking about his travels. Like, yeah, you go to Utah and you walk around Salt Lake City with like a Mountain Dew. They'll like throw eggs at you and call you a sinner. And I literally raised my hand and I was like, that's not true. And he's like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I literally have family out there. I've been to Utah. That's not what happens at all. You're spreading propaganda.
But yeah, so I'm 80% certain that she's Mormon. At least she has a religious family. And one cool thing, she plays the harp. Like, that is such a crazy specific instrument. And they showed her playing it, and she's like really good. As a 14-year-old kid, she's just like...
She's playing a cell phone ringtone? What you did was a cell phone ringtone.
She was the person that first recorded that ringtone. So
hey, it was early enough. It was early enough in like the cell phone. Like she probably could have.
But so her grandpa just died. They're having this funeral, and then the school's like, we also want Elizabeth to be in this award ceremony. So also we want her to play the harp at it. So if you could just do that. And this family is like, okay, sure. And they're just trying to get shit going. Her mom's name is Lois, and she is like running around the kitchen trying to get dinner ready before they go to the the award ceremony. And she burns the potatoes. And then
what an odd detail.
What an odd detail. She burns them. She's like, ew, that smells. She opens up a window to let the smoke and the smell out. And then they go to the ceremony and they come home and they're tired and they go to bed. So here's the family breakdown. The mother's name is Lois. The dad's name's Ed.
Peter.
She's what?
I said Peter.
Peter. Oh my God.
Peter!
She's got, so they have 5 kids. She's got 3 brothers. I don't need to go through all their names. And then she has one sister named Mary Catherine.
So how many kids are in here?
5.
Mormon.
So on June 5th, 2002, so Mary Catherine, what?
Really quick. No, I realized I said that and it could come across. We have family who is Mormon. Like we
can say that.
We have Mormon friends. I would say we went to the Mormon church more than we went to the Lutheran church, even though we're baptized.
We trunk or treated with the Mormons, so I can say whatever I want.
We trunk or treat or love for life.
I love trunk or treating.
I don't know why.
It was so fun.
There was much less candy, and I liked walking.
It was so much less. But there was much less walking, so.
I miss trick-or-treating.
Oh my gosh.
I loved trick-or-treating.
So Mary Catherine is 9, and they sleep in the same bed. Her and Elizabeth, who's 14, share a room, share a bed. I think that sounds like the worst, but...
Oh, horrible. Thank God it was just you and me. Because I swear to God, if I had to share a room with like a little brother, I would kick his ass every fucking day. I'd be a creature.
That kid would be dead. Yeah,
I would be a demon.
But so that's such a huge age gap to share a bed too. I think Elizabeth just must have had the patience of a saint. But
Charlie just shut the door and he's like, I don't want to hear any more of your...
I'm done with this. So Elizabeth is woken up at 2 a.m. and there's a man standing over her and he's saying something. And she's can't really make it out. She's not really sure what's going on. And then she realizes he's saying, I have a knife. Come with me. Don't say anything. Don't alert anybody or I'll kill you.
I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan.
Yeah, so she's like, She gets up and he tells her to come with him. She's going along with everything because her sister is literally laying next to her and she's like, if I don't do what he says, he will kill her. So he takes her to the closet and he gets her shoes, which is a really bad sign because that means they're going outside. And he's like whispering, I'll kill you if you say anything. I'll kill your family, blah, 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 blah. And he gets her out the back door.
I'm going to say it right now. You killing me right now is better than whatever the fuck you're about to do to me for the next extended period of time. It guarantees that you'll get caught. So
spite.
So, well, no, because like in my mind, I'm like, all right, so I'm dead either way. You know, it's like, at least if he stabs me here, my parents could call the paramedics and I could maybe make it. Whereas if he takes me to a second location, I'm not getting back from the second location.
Her big worry was her family and just doing something that would hurt someone that she loved. So
and you're 14, like you're not thinking.
And actually, at one point,
if you were lying in bed next to me, I'd say, "Sorry, McCall,"
fucking kill her.
Scream! No,
take her instead of me.
No, I would tackle him.
But actually, at one point during the walk, because he takes her outside and they're walking, they actually walk up a mountain because it's Utah, so you're around. So
you're in fucking Utah.
And in the documentary, she's like, and at one point I just stopped and was like, so if you're going to fucking kill me, can you just do it right now? Because
I'm not walking up a mountain.
I don't want to I want my parents to find my body. I don't want to do this whole deal that you got going on. And he creepily said, I'm not going to kill you yet, which is, the scariest thing.
And so I'd run. So he doesn't have her tied up or anything. He's just like leading her.
She's walking up a mountain and he's right behind her. So if you're running up, you're going to go pretty slow and you can't turn around to run down because he's right behind you. And also he has a knife to your neck the whole time. You're 14.
But all his bitch ass has is a knife. Then again, I will say I look through it through a lens of being
a man.
A fairly robust, like since I was a child, a fairly robust young man. So.
Yeah. So she was just really trying to get through
I would
it.
say, yep. No, she was doing her best.
So, Mary Catherine.
I can't say that I would be any different as a 14-year-old. I'd probably be a weeping mess.
I'd be crying.
Yep, I'd probably be devastated.
So Mary Catherine, her sister, was awake for that entire thing that just happened. She now knows that her sister was taken, and she's fucking 9. So she's freaking out, and she wants to go tell her parents, but she's also really scared that the man is still there and doesn't want to leave and get her sister hurt if she gets up and alerts people. So she's like having a horrible panic time as a little kid in a bed.
Oh my God.
And then she finally gets up, but it's like about maybe 2 hours later.
Both of these girls have been put through so much.
So she gets up and every parent's nightmare. She just runs in the room. She's like, Elizabeth's gone. Someone took her. And her dad's like, no, she's not gone. Like, we'll find her. And they like look around the house because they think that she dreamt like a nightmare or something. And then they can't find her. And then they call the police and they're freaking out. And they do that thing that people do and they're like, having a horrible time, which is call friends and family.
I was like, no, not Joni Bennett Rammy, no.
Which makes sense. They're like, we have to find her. So we have to get everybody we know up and at them and looking and going. But so they call everybody. And now a bunch of people are funneling into their house to talk to them,
ruining
to
the crime scene.
And the police are usually the night crew is like just like young 14-year-olds who are like, oh, I just joined the force.
It's not even the B team, it's the C team.
And they're just like, yeah, sure, everyone tromp around, please. And then the other policemen get there and they're like, no, contaminated scene. And they are like, ah, shit. So that's happening. The police are like getting into action. Everyone in the whole community is alerted. They're all going out and looking. So Elizabeth is now walking they walk up a mountain and they get to like a campsite basically in like the woods. And there's a woman there and Elizabeth's like, ah! And they give her a creepy robe and say, put this on. And she has to like wear this robe and they're just really weird. The woman, her name is Barzee. That's her last name. Her name's Wanda.
I would say, excuse me?
Well, he calls her, something insane, some biblical name at first. He goes by Emmanuel when he's talking.
Bathsheba?
It is like creepily close to that. I wish I could remember it. It's something with a B. But so he's going by Emmanuel. She's going by some other dumb shit. And she's terrifying. But he also like comes into her tent. And he says a bunch of weird shit that she's not really paying attention to because she's crying and she's like, leave me alone, go away. And he basically is like, now we're married and we're going to be together forever.
No.
So now we have to consummate the marriage.
Oh, and God.
Like, So that happens and it's bad and it's sad and trigger warning. So that's what's happening there. He also puts a cable, like a metal cable, and ties it around her leg and then ties it to a tree. So she has like a few feet that she can walk around in this encampment. And that's kind of where she's at. She's in the woods. She can't get out. She's got a metal cable around her and he just basically rapes her all the time, and they don't give her food or water for really long periods of time. He will get her drunk a lot or give her drugs or anything like that so he can, it's really, really bad. But so that is where she's at. the family is like putting up, what's it called? News announcements, trying to like talk to her captors, trying to get her to come home, stuff like that. So they're really in the news. The family's trying everything that they can. They're obviously really upset. In the beginning, the police, because when it comes to kidnapping, it's almost always someone that you know in the family. That's like the big thing. Either
what
it's like,
does he do? He covets.
But yeah, so it's the police are like, when they take the parents from the crime scene the night of, they take everybody separately. So they take the wife separate, the dad separate, the boys separate. Everybody is separate, and they keep them all separated, and they all question them specifically. And so now like their brothers are also really young, and they're like, they think I did it, Dad. And the dad's like, but I'm sorry. But obviously the police kind of like start checking people off, saying like, no, it's not them, it's not them, it's not them. One thing about the family is that I don't know financially how well they were doing, but based on footage of the house, it looks like a real nice house. And they have 5 kids, and they're doing pretty good financially, it seems. They didn't have any issues or anything that the police could find. They had just got this newer house, and they were doing a bunch of renovations and remodels and stuff. And they were looking for contractors, handymen, things to help around the house. And so they had this like laundry list of people that had been working on their house. So they're basically going through this list of people that have been around the house. And because they know the layout of the house, because this guy, he broke through. So if you remember in the beginning when I said that the mom burned the potatoes.
Yes.
She opened up that window to let out the burning smell. And the family decided, let's leave that open because it still kind of smells a little burnt in here overnight. So he broke in by cutting open the screen and then getting in through that window is how he got in. And he knew the floor plan extremely well because he didn't wake anybody else up in the home. He went right to Elizabeth's room. He got her out without anybody being alerted. So the cops are like, whoever it is either really connected to the family and knows the house or has been in the house before for some reason. So they're really looking at these contractors. They find this guy who is their main suspect, and his name is Richard Rizzi, and he basically has a pretty long like rap sheet. Basically, he was a contractor that they'd hired, and the family just was like, yeah, he's just like a nice dude that did some work on our house. And it turns out that he had a lot of burglary charges, and he keeps breaking parole. None of that is kidnapping, but the police were like, this is our guy. We got him. So they're looking at Richard, and he actually breaks his parole again. So he's actually back in prison when the police are looking at him as a suspect. And they're leaning on him really hard. They did a bunch of stuff that I didn't know you could do while people were in jail, which is like, he wasn't allowed to have hot showers. He wasn't allowed to get any haircuts or shave. He wasn't allowed to have time in the yard. And he wasn't allowed to like really go outside of his cell. Like he was basically in solitary confinement. And if he did leave his cell, he had to wear like a bag on his head. And the police are like, confess, you did it, right? And he's like, no, I didn't fucking kidnap her. I don't know what you're talking about. So in the documentary that I watched, they were interviewing policemen, and the policemen were like, we were looking at all angles of the case. Like, we were really keeping our eyes on the prize. We were looking at everything. In the Crime Junkie episode that I listened to, they were like, they wanted Rizzi, and that was kind of their only thing they were looking at. So I don't really know, investigation-wise, what actually happened.
Based on the things that I've seen and I've listened to, the police are incompetent.
Like, I'm sure that they were looking at other stuff, but maybe they were looking too hard in one specific direction.
How judicious of you.
And Richard actually, like, his brain gets puffy and he has to get taken to the hospital. I don't know exactly what happens, but, like, you know how your brain sometimes, like, swells up and then the doctors have to, like
I don't know what that
in your
condition
head?
is, but
I know.
it sounds familiar.
Something medical happened and he had to go to the doctor and he was in a
Something
coma.
medical.
He was in a coma forever. Like, the police were there and the doctor's like, he's never waking up, man. I don't know what to tell you. So he's out of commission and the police are still like, I think he did it.
Jesus Christ.
And in the meantime, so Elizabeth
the real people who did it are running around
are in the mountains, just like living in the mountains. So yeah, Elizabeth is living with these two insane people. She's being abused and everything. And after a while, so it sounds like they didn't have a lot of food. It's not like
because they're in the mountains.
Yeah, it's not like Emmanuel had like a job or money or anything. So he would go down into the city and he'd panhandle for money and then he would bring food back. But it sounds like there wasn't a lot of food. And when it ran out, they would kind of wait 1 to 2 days before he would leave to go get more. And when they did have it, they wouldn't give it to her right away, obviously, because she was a captive and they probably ate first. And they wouldn't give her water and stuff. So after a while, oh God, what's her face? Barzee, his accomplice, is like, I want to go into the city. I'm hungry. I want to leave. I don't want to be in the camp anymore all the time. And so they decide to take Elizabeth into town with them to do their shit.
I'm glad they did because I think that this will inevitably lead to them getting discovered. But
so what they do is they put because they're both in robes, like they are looking like
crazy culty.
They are looking
cultish.
Like if you went back in time into the Bible and you just plucked one of those outfits out and were like, yes,
we're in the Bible,
and
not the good Bible.
And they put like one of those veils on her face too. So she is covered head to toe. You can't see her face. And they keep saying, like, keep repeating, like, if you say anything, if you do anything, we'll kill you. We know where your family is and we know how to get inside and we'll kill your sister if you say anything. So she's very aware of the situation and how dangerous it is. So she's quiet. At one point, it's getting closer to winter and they know that they can't live in the mountains in the wintertime. So they go to the library to do research on where they're going to live next. And at the library, people are like, what the fuck's up with that? And someone calls the police and is like, Elizabeth Smart might be here because there's a weird group hanging over there and I don't know what's going on. So a homicide detective goes to the library and walks up to them and he's like, hey, what's going on? And Emmanuel, the kidnapper, is like, we're just here. My wife and my daughter are not allowed to talk because of our religion. And you can't see their faces because of our religion. So please leave. And the policeman's like, yeah, but I'd love to see your face just to make sure that she is your daughter. And it's that, like,
that immediate moment of, like,
it's a very fine line between someone's right to practice their religion and being like, I think there's a kidnapped girl under that veil. So they have like a horrible like conversation. They're kind of going back and forth. Elizabeth's sitting there and the Barzee's hand is like on her leg under the table and it's like gripping her. Like, if you say anything, I will fucking kill you. And so she's quiet. She's not saying anything because she's scared. And the policeman eventually leaves. So after that whole fun situation, they go back up into the mountain and they're like, we gotta go. We're not coming back down. You're not going back into the city. And they actually get bus tickets to go to California. So they are actually in California for months. She's gone for like 6 months in California. I don't actually know. But in the meantime, I'm sorry, I forgot. Before the library incident, they did actually go to like a party in Utah. And the documentary that I watched, the guy who had the party was like, there's two types of people in Utah. There's Mormons and there's people that aren't Mormons. And so he's like, so all the not Mormons were at this party and we were all like the artsy people. They're pretty crazy. They're drinking and there's like fire twirlers out back, like doing fire shit. And Elizabeth Smart's there and she's like, ah. So, because she's a really sheltered girl and this is just a lot for her. She doesn't get recognized at that party either, but her captors are acting really odd and they do draw a lot of eyes. But they go to California and then they are coming back after spending some time there over the winter. And I don't know exactly what happens, but they don't have the same disguises on their way back. Instead of having her veil and her religious garb, she has like a gray wig and like big sunglasses to disguise her. And they're on the bus and this dude's like, why is that 15-year-old wearing a gray wig? And Emmanuel's like, we got to get off this bus. So they get off the bus and they're walking along the freeway and people are like obviously looking at them like, what the fuck is going on? So the police come and the police are like, hey, so what's going on here? And Emmanuel's like, nothing. We're obviously just walking around. My daughter here has this wig on and we're just going home. And the police are like, that's Elizabeth Smart. Like, I'm pretty certain. And he's like, no. We have to wear this wig for our religion. And she has to wear those big sunglasses because she just had eye surgery. So, bleh. And Elizabeth's not like saying anything. At first, she's very scared. The police eventually take her aside. They take her away from Emmanuel and try to get her they're trying to talk to her kind of one-on-one. And she at first is like, no, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm obviously a 15-year-old wearing a wig. I'm his daughter. Yes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, come on. You're obviously Elizabeth Smart. They like bring a flyer out from like looking for her. Have you seen me? And they put it up to her face and they're like, that's you. And she's been in this weird religious like setting for so long. They actually, when she's in this encampment, they don't like talk normally. Like they don't say you or your, they say like thou all the time. And she doesn't want Emmanuel to hear her say, you're right. So instead she says, if thou sayest. And the policemen are like, okay, I think that means that you're agreeing with us. So we're going to take you. And they take her out of there. She's in her own car. She's still not really saying a lot. She's still very afraid. And then they get her into the police station and her dad comes because they call her dad and they're like, you got to get down here right now. And her family has been dealing with so many, bodies that they found that they think might be hers, different like tips that have come in that haven't worked. They've celebrated her birthday and Christmas without her. Like they've been through a lot. And her dad finally gets that call that's like, you gotta get here right now. And so he comes in and he sees her and he hugs her and she finally feels safe. And she just like loses it. And she gets to go home and be with her family. And it's really nice that it gets to end where she's okay. They book both Emmanuel and Barzee. And Emmanuel's name is not really Emmanuel. He was just going by a fake name. His name is Brian David Mitchell. He has been married a couple times. He has allegations of molesting the children in his other marriages. So he's obviously a child molester.
Say, to the surprise of absolutely fucking no one.
Yeah, like, obviously, that's like his MO. And Wanda is, I mean, just a horrible woman. I don't know. They fucking met and she was just a bitch.
I did read a little bit because I was trying to see if I could see what he was like what she called him. And Elizabeth Smart
Hepzibah.
Hepzibah. Okay.
Hepzibah.
Elizabeth Smart refers to her as like the most evil woman she's ever met or something like that.
So, yeah, I mean, she's just the worst. And she actually is out of prison, by the way. She got out because she was an accomplice, even though, like, she kind of did everything that I don't know. But they were, like, in the LDS church for a while.
I was like, girl, the way that if I was Elizabeth Smart's parents, that I would be like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
We're putting her back away. How about that? How about some of that?
So, yeah, they were both in the LDS church, and they were big members. And then Brian David Mitchell was like, guess what? I'm actually a prophet of God, and I would like to, tell the future. And the church was like, nope, no, get out of here. So he got excommunicated, and that's kind of when he and Barzee were like, we're going to go do our own thing in the mountains. And he had a vision that he was going to have 7 wives who were virgins. And so Elizabeth was the first one that he had kidnapped.
Why is it always like...
I don't understand. But, sorry, there's actually so many things that are, like, I kind of started rattling on because I wasn't sure how interested you were. You were just kind of staring at me, so I was like, oh, God. But, like, I forgot a couple things. So Mary Catherine, her sister, who had the horrible job of telling the police that her sister was kidnapped and then kind of describing him. At first, she couldn't think of who he was, but in the beginning, she said, I recognized his voice. And it was months and months later. She got kidnapped in June, and then in October, Mary Catherine comes to her parents and she's like, I know where I heard his voice. He's Emmanuel. And Emmanuel is what Brian David Mitchell had told her parents his name was when he worked for them as like a handyman, kind of. He worked for them for literally one day. But he was in their house. He did some yard work. He did some like roof shit. And Mary Catherine remembered his voice from then. She remembered his name and his voice and was like, that's who we're looking for. And they told the police, and the police were like, yeah, but this guy in the coma is looking super good.
Why are the police always so incompetent?
And they did like a sketch because Ed, Elizabeth's dad, had obviously talked to Emmanuel before. So they did like a sketch of him. And at first the police were like, we don't want to release this to the public because if you release it and he sees it, he might go underground. And then like months and months and months go by and nothing's happening. And the Smarts just kind of release it. They're like, fine, fuck. If you're not going to do it, we're going to do it. So they release it to the public. And everybody in Salt Lake actually knows who this guy is because he has a... Well, okay, in the sketch that they actually did, he was clean shaven at the time that Ed knew him. But they released the sketch on America's Most Wanted, and Brian David Mitchell's sister saw that episode and called the police and was like, that's my brother. That's Brian David Mitchell. And then they have a picture of him now, and he looks completely different. He's got a huge beard, really long hair. People in Salt Lake called him the Jesus Man because he would go around panhandling and he would basically preach like on the streets. So everyone knows who he is. So once that's like in the public, when they see Emmanuel walking on the freeway with a little girl in a gray wig, people got it like immediately. They were calling in so fucking fast. So it's
so
just
thank
like,
God they fucking did that.
Yeah, I mean,
because otherwise the police were going to sit with their hands up their ass,
looking at this guy in the coma, like, ugh, you are just the perfect suspect.
when you wake up, you're going to be so fucking got, you motherfucker.
I'm gonna arrest you so fucking hard. So
did
yeah,
he ever wake up?
No, he like
died.
I think he died. I don't. They kind of fall off on that and
Jesus Christ
stuff that I watched. They were like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, they really didn't want to focus on the fact that the police were fucking incompetent once a fucking again.
Barzy went to jail for a little bit, but she got out. David Mitchell,
police incompetence again.
Not just that.
No, that's not police.
The legal
that's
system.
The law. The legal system being incompetent.
And then Brian David Mitchell, he did get, oh gosh, what's it called?
Life. He got life.
He was guilty of kidnapping and transporting a minor across state lines with the intent to engage in sexual activity. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
So what was Wanda's involvement? Like, if she didn't get hit with the same kind of shit, like she was like, no, I was just there for the free food. Like, what?
I don't know. I'm sure she was like an accomplice to kidnapping or some shit. I didn't actually write down her exact charges because I guess I just didn't.
When I saw it, it was just accessory to kidnapping.
Yeah, accessory to kidnapping. But like,
also like you were fully aware of what was going on.
Yeah.
So she should have been got for a life sentence too. Sorry about it.
No, yeah, she's complicit in everything that happened. I don't understand.
So why she's a free woman, I don't understand. And I hope that she never knows peace. I hope that her life is filled with horror and misery. And I hope that snakes manifest physically in her house at all given times.
She just hears the rattling and she's like, God damn the snakes.
Yeah. The Black Mamba again.
But that is the case of Elizabeth Smart.
Well, I'm glad that she's all right.
She's all right.
One of those rare ones where she's okay.
Amazing. She's literally amazing. And she does a lot for victims of sexual assault. She wrote a book. She has a talking tour. She's just a really cool lady. And I just really like her. So
I do too. She was put through so much that not a lot of people could go through.
So young.
So young. And even though I was like, well, why didn't you do that? It's like, that's just me being a dick. No, she was put through a literal impossible circumstance that none of us would ever hope to be in.
And she touches on that a lot in the material that I've listened to for her. Is like, she gets that a lot, is why didn't you scream? Why didn't you run? Why didn't you do this? And
you never know what you're going to do in that situation until you're put into it.
I mean, yeah, she's like, if I looked back on my life and asked what if all the time, I would go crazy. I did what I had to do at the moment, and I was a scared little kid, and that's just what happened, man.
Literally a baby. Literally a baby.
Little baby.
I know I remember being 14 and thinking I was such an adult, but it's like I was such a baby.
She was reading Ella Enchanted with her sister, who she still slept with in the same bed. Like, they were just little baby children. So, yeah, I don't know. But I'm just really happy that she's home, safe, and it's okay.
Me too. I'm glad it's one of the ones that we talk about that does have a happy ending. Happy as it could be.
I mean, obviously the happiest ending was that nothing happened at all.
No, but no. Terrible things happened, but the best possible outcome happened.
Yes.
Although, no, not even that. So the best possible outcome would be that what's her shit would be behind bars for the rest of her life too.
Yeah. What's her shit? Wanda.
Hepzibah.
God, if I had to pick my religious name, it would not be Hepzibah.
I have a D&D character named Hepzibah because I liked that name.
It's a cool name for like a witch.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a witch kind of name is what I was going to use it for.
Yeah. I would do that, but I'm not.
Because I got mine from Harry Potter.
Oh, that's cool. Who's Hepzibah?
Hepzibah was one of the characters. I mean, okay, sorry. I know that Harry Potter is a kind of tricky subject now, but it's like, I'm sorry.
It is a minefield.
It is a minefield, but I'm sorry, it was a formative part of my childhood.
We all read the books, okay?
But no, Hepzibah was one of the people who actually had one of the Horcruxes. And I think she had which item of she had one of the items of the heads of the houses or whatever. You know, she had like Helga's teacups or something like that.
Was she a Death Eater?
No.
Ah.
No, Hepzibah was she was a witch.
A lady.
She was a lady who was she was a witch who collected shit. And I think Voldemort like sought her out, if I remember correctly, and bought I think it had to be either Salazar Slytherin's was his the ring? Was the ring?
I think he was the teacups.
No, okay, you make fun. No, Helga Hufflepuff's thing was a literal cup.
Oh yeah, no. But wasn't it like a chalice or something cool?
No, it was like a teacup. I think at least I think it was.
If I had a Horcrux, it'd be like my Little Mermaid glass that I drink out of.
Oh, it would be mine would be like the most mundane thing. It's like, oh, it's this pin in this pile of pins. Good luck.
Hope you find it.
Yeah, hope you find it, dick shit.
But so that's
sorry, that's where I was thinking Hepzibah. I didn't realize it was biblical.
It's all of his stuff is biblical because he's Emmanuel, she was Hepzibah, he was the Jesus man who never shut up about religion, I'm sure. And they gave Elizabeth a different name too, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah, so it's a lot.
I looked it up. It was she chose Esther.
Okay, that's what Wikipedia said, but when I listened to Crime Junkie, it was a different name, so it was maybe not that. That fake name was probably a different fake name, so...
who do we trust more? Sorry, my neck's been really tight lately.
Yeah, you look kind of crazy when you were stretching it. Gonna pull a Deborah Logan and make your forehead real big.
Snippity snappity. No, my forehead's already big enough.
Your forehead's normal sized.
No, I think I'm going bald.
Calm yourself.
I know.
Dear Lord. What am I supposed to do? But what if you were? Am I supposed to, like, what do you want from me?
Like,
it's like if someone...
I really hope at a certain point, Logan, you'd be like, you need to give up the ghost and just, like, let it go.
I don't get it. Like, if you hang out with girls long enough, they'll be like, oh, I'm so fat. And I'm like, what do you want me to fucking say?
It's like, yes, the times are hard. You've gained a little weight.
Like,
sorry.
You just want me to say, no. You look great.
No.
You're not losing your hair.
No, I don't want that. Mine is like, if it really starts to be like, whoa, Logan.
Oh, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when you got a buzz. But you look fine. Don't worry.
Thank God. I'm wearing a hat right now. I'm wearing a hat.
But like, I've seen you without a hat on, like, recently. Unless you're, like, aggressively losing hair.
Oh, I pull it off and it's like,
it's just patchy.
It's like in The Craft when the one girl's losing all her hair.
Just like it like sprinkles down when you take off your hat.
That'll actually be one of the ones. So I have a couple on the deck, movie-wise. I have Skeleton Key. I have Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and now The Craft.
I want to watch The Craft so bad.
I bought it, so we should watch it.
Yay!
It's really good. It was that, like, I thought that the earth shifted for me when I watched movies like Mean Girls and the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Moulin Rouge. Like, the earth moved. Like, and I thought that the time of like Showgirls, Sleepaway Camp. I thought that my time of like movies shifting the earth for me moved on. I watched The Craft and I was like, oh,
it's back.
It's back. And I'm Nancy, bitch.
I got another one.
Yay.
I want to watch it. Oh,
it is so funny. It's like, people be like, oh, all gays love this movie. And I'm like, what? And then I watch the movie.
Gay.
And then I watch the movie and I'm like, I'm a faggot every time.
I am that gay.
I am that gay every time. Every time.
Man.
I'm just like, I love that. people are like, oh, Showgirls is terrible, but all the gays love it. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, I center my personality around that fucking movie now.
You got me. So if you want to follow us and talk to us about movies that you'd like
you're
us,
just glossing over the sibling story.
I feel like our sibling story was us just talking about Harry Potter and then The Craft for like 40 minutes.
I think that's fair because guess what? We've kind of tapped out our sibling
I
stories.
don't have one, so
we're about
eat it.
We're 80 plus episodes into us. We've talked about all of our like most relevant ones that we can think of, except for the one that McCall won't let me tell. But
I let you tell it.
No, there was a different one.
Oh God, okay.
There was a different one that I remembered the other day that I was like, oh, that's the one McCall won't let me tell.
When I pause this, I want to know what it is. But
okay.
But if you want to follow us or talk to us on anything, we are Living Scary Podcast. On Twitter, we are at Living Scary. And we're Living Scary Podcast on Instagram and our new Gmail. Sorry, I had to burp. You know what? I have to figure out what our Gmail is. Give me 2 seconds.
Way to go.
I have just auto-logged into it.
It should just be Living by Scariously.
It should, but it's not. Or maybe it fucking is.
That'll be the one remnant of Living Vicariously.
No one will ever email us in a million years then. It's livingscarypodcast@gmail.com. So follow us and tell us all your thoughts and feelings. And if you have a sibling story that you'd like us to read, we would love to do that for you. But yeah, that's the episode.
Yay!
Yay, we did it.
Boo!